In today's lesson, we are going to be identifying attributes or characteristics of shapes in groups. Alright, so the next several slides will show you groups of 2D shapes. Your job will be to classify them according to attributes. Remember that attributes are the characteristics of the shape that we use to describe it. Now, these groups could be based off of lines, parallel and perpendicular, triangles, sides or angles, or they could be quadrilaterals. You need to make sure that you're paying close attention to all of the attributes of the shape. Alright, so let's start out with our 3 triangles here. Take a look at these 3 triangles and take a moment just to think about how would you sort these triangles, or if I have all these triangles sorted already into a group, what characteristic am I sorting them by? Yes, they are all triangles, but there's something else that they all have in common. Hopefully you were able to see that all 3 of these triangles are right triangles because they all have right angles. Alright, I want you to take a second now and figure out how I sorted these quadrilaterals. They're all quadrilaterals, but they all also have something in common. Try to think, pause the video and see if you can figure this one out. Okay, hopefully you paused the video and you thought long and hard about this one. There are a lot of different attributes that these quadrilaterals have, but there's only one that they all have in common. Now, one thing that you could have thought was that, okay, these 3 shapes right here, this one, and this one, all have perpendicular lines and they all have right angles in their corners. But this parallelogram right here is throwing us off. They don't all have equal sides because although this one and this one are squares, this is a rectangle and this is a parallelogram, and these do not have equal sides. So that means that the only way that these shapes are sorted are by their parallel lines. All of these shapes have 2 sets of parallel lines. So each one of these has not one, but 2 sets of parallel lines, and that's how I would sort these. Alright, so looking at these shapes here, I hope that you can pick this one out. Which of these 4 shapes do not belong in this group? Take a minute to figure this one out. Hopefully you won't need a full minute. Alright, hopefully you have figured this one out. Obviously, this circle does not belong. These 3 shapes right here are all quadrilaterals. They have 4 sides, and we know very well that a circle does not have any sides. So obviously the circle does not belong. Alright, let's look what else we have here in this group of shapes. Which one of these shapes does not belong? Okay, obviously this shape right here does not belong. This shape has 8 sides, which is actually called an octagon. And these 3 shapes right here are triangles, and they have 3 sides. So obviously, if all of these have 3 sides and this one has 8, this is the one that does not belong. Okay, and finally, which shape does not belong? This one is a little bit more complicated than last time. Try to think if you can figure this one out. Alright, so the shape that does not belong here is the trapezoid. The reason this one does not belong, you would have to kind of figure out, how do you think these shapes are sorted? Well, to me, I think these shapes are sorted because they have 2 sets of parallel lines each. Okay, so this is a parallelogram, this one is a square, and this one is also a square. Has 2 sets of parallel lines. As we all know, trapezoids only have 1 set of parallel lines on the top and the bottom, so that means that this one does not belong here. Okay, great job. It is now time to go to Canvas and take your quiz. Show what you know, and hopefully you get all 3 out of 3.